three particular things: connection, trust, and knowledge and understanding. There's a great quote here from Zig Ziglar that I love, and it says, if people like you, they'll listen to you, but if they trust you, they'll do business with you. And that is why storytelling is so important, because you can speak to someone all you like about the things you know, or, you know, statistics or whatever it might be, but it's actually your story that makes people gravitate towards you and want to listen to what you have to say, makes them want to connect with you, and all those kinds of things. One thing I love to talk about is the impact of stories on the brain, because I don't know about you, but some people feel that storytelling, it's just an inspiring kind of fun thing people do. It motivates people, but it doesn't actually, you know, go that deep. But the science behind it is actually really interesting. So there's a quote here from Tick Publishing, which actually explains the way that our brains are impacted. So the way it works is that our brains actually experience imagined narratives as if they were real. And there's very little difference between how our brain processes information when we read or we hear stories and when we actually experience reality. And the interesting thing is that to our brain, those imagined narratives and real events are one and the same. So to our brain, storytelling is, it's when we hear stories, it actually sends a signal to our brain that tells it that this is actually something real and something that we should connect with. There's also a quote here from Kendall Haven, which talks about how your goal in every communication is to influence your target audience. You want to be able to change their current attitudes, their belief, their knowledge, and information on its own rarely changes any of these. But research has confirmed that a well-designed story is the most effective vehicle for exerting influence. And this quote is particularly why I wanted to share that with you, because it really hits home why memoir writing in particular is so vital for inspiring, creating global impact, and scaling your business. So let's talk about storytelling as a business lead. And before I jump into this, I want to ask you the question too. Is there anyone here who's maybe thought of writing a memoir, but you've had questions about, you know, is memoir writing really the kind of way that I can impact the world, or is it just about sharing a cool story? I'd love to know if that's a question you have in your head about whether you can actually, you know, grow your business or exert, you know, grow your credibility and visibility through memoir writing, because that's another really cool topic that I love to talk on as well. So let me know if you're thinking about that. So storytelling is actually an incredible way to create new streams of income in your life and business. But when we talk about the role that our books play in creating some kind of income for us, it's really important to understand what that role exactly is. Now, one of the major mistakes that people make when they start writing a book or they think about it is that they sit down, they start writing, and they think, oh my gosh, I am going to become the next J.K. Rowling. You know, this book is going to be my moneymaker. I'm going to quit my 9-to-5 or my 8-to-6, and I'm going to focus on just selling my books, and that's how I'm going to live. And that's one of the main mistakes that people make. Because the reality is that your goal when writing should not actually be to be the next Mark Manson or J.K. Rowling. What you really want to do with your book is three particular things, which we're going to dive into in a minute. But I want to be transparent with you because that's kind of my thing. But the reason I share this is because I didn't know this when I started. So when I started, I had that same dream of, if I just work really, really hard, I can sell enough copies of my book to live off. And I thought that that was all you had to do as an author. Maybe that sounds silly to you, but I do know that a lot of other aspiring authors have these thoughts as well. They think that it's just about hitting the jackpot with writing that bestseller that's going to make their income for the rest of their lives. Just taking a second to read your comments. So this is a couple of pictures of me throughout my journey. So in the first picture where I'm sitting in the yellow dress, that was actually where That was back when I released my very first book, where I had no idea what I was doing. And I just thought, I'm going to work really, really hard, sell lots of copies of my book, and that's how I'm going to make my money. And over the years, it has progressed quite a lot. As you can see in some of these pictures, I have been able to grow my book business quite a lot and have some really amazing sold out launches. But it was a long journey. As I said in the start of today, I had to learn what the actual roadmap was for the author life. So back in 2017, when I released my first book, you can see me there speaking to a small group. It's maybe 10 people, 15 people. And I was struggling to live on just $20 book sales here and there. All my speaking gigs were free, and I didn't know how to turn my book and my storytelling into something that would inspire people, but also pay my bills. If you fast forward though to 2020, I now have a system in place where my book is my lead magnet for, that's an error, not $30 services, for $30,000 services, sorry. And I've had some amazing speaking gigs in places like Parliament House, which you can see in that photo there as well, which is amazing. So as I mentioned before, your goal is not to be the next J.K. Rowling. It's amazing if you can be, but your book is actually there to do three particular things. It's there to create credibility, increase your visibility, and help you sell your services.